Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be talking about the driver capabilities between different various models of Leatherman multi-tools. And specifically we're going to be talking about the Phillips driver capabilities and some of the pros and cons to the different styles in the Leatherman lineup. So I've got some of the more popular models of Leathermans on the table. I have the Rebar and the Super Tool 300, which are going to include the truss style Phillips screwdriver, which provides an onboard, non-detachable Phillips driver. Then we have the Leatherman Wave and the Leatherman Surge, two of the most popular in the Leatherman lineup, which include bit exchangers, which will use Leatherman's proprietary bits that are double-sided, where you can exchange them out for various different types of drivers. And then on the bottom we have the two newest models, the Leatherman Curl and the Leatherman Bond, each of which is the Curl is more follows along the design of more closely of the Wave, and so it's going to include the bit exchanger, and the Bond is more reminiscent of that of the Rebar and is going to include the truss style screwdriver. Now these are not the only options in Leatherman. There are some outliers that we're going to talk about as well, but we're also going to look at some of the accessories that you can purchase for each of these types of multi-tools for your driver capabilities in particular. So let's get into the key differences and the pros and cons between truss style and the bit exchangers. So I've set some of those others to the side, and we're going to concentrate on the Rebar and the Wave. So I feel like these are more what the general public will gravitate towards for these two particular multi-tools. Of course, the Bond and the Curl being newer multi-tools, they may lean towards those as well, but I like the Rebar and the Wave. Now we're not going to talk about all the different tools within them, but we're just specifically going to concentrate on the driver capabilities and what you can expect out of these multi-tools. Now there are outliers to this as well. Here I have the Leatherman Free P4, which uses a different type of screwdriver, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I don't really like the Free series. And there's other reasons apart from that. I get what they're trying to do, or what their intention was with the Free series. The whole point with Free series is to make it very user friendly, and I understand that. Their capability, in my opinion, is a little bit lacking from some of the various other models of Leathermans that you can get on the market. So with the Free series, it uses a more flattened out driver. So it's basically the same thickness as what you get with the bits in the bit exchanger, but doesn't give you any kind of option in order to add on extra bits as well. Now it includes a couple of flat drivers that come with this multi-tool as well to handle most of your needs, but not all of them. So we're going to set the Free to the side, and we're going to concentrate on these two models. Now with the truss style screwdriver, I like the truss style screwdrivers in the Leathermans because, first of all, one of the key benefits to this is, first of all, you have a full three-dimensional Phillips driver, and it is on board with your multi-tool. So you don't have to worry about losing any bits or anything like that. That is a very key function. The fact that you don't have to worry about carrying extra accessories and you have everything all in one tool, I completely understand why people gravitate towards the truss style drivers. Now there are accessories that you can add to this, so if you wanted to or had a need to add a driver capability to your multi-tool, you still maintain that option with this truss style screwdriver. Now with the bit exchangers, which is the one that I gravitate more towards, what you'll get is a flattened out, or some people call them two-dimensional bits. They're not really two-dimensional, but they are proprietary flattened driver bit. Now with the Wave and Charge and Surge series and most of the others, what you'll get is a combination number 1, number 2 Phillips driver and a 3/16 flat driver that comes standard with those models. So the combination number 1, number 2 actually does work fairly decently, though it's a bit of a compromise. And the material on these, especially when you're dealing with some of the very small flat drivers, is a little softer than what you'll get out of a truss style screwdriver in particular, or any of the flat drivers that you'll find in various different models of Leatherman. And so they're not quite as robust, but it gives you the option to switch between various different drivers on the fly, and that is something that I like very much. Now, let's talk about some of the accessories. Both of these have the ability where you can add on bit a bit collection in order to expand your capabilities. Now, with the rebar, because it has a truss style screwdriver, you have to use a special adapter bit. Now, this adapter bit is squared off and fits that truss style screwdriver perfectly. And then with this particular bit sleeve, you get an additional 10 bits or 5 double-sided bits in order to increase your driver capability, and they work quite well in there. Now, Leatherman uses a particular style of driver, and so it is difficult to put in with this adapter and with some of the other adapters that we're going to look at, that your standard 1/4 inch bits, though it does have a standard 1/4 inch extension is what it is, it has a different type of catch mechanism. So in the center of these bits, there's a little notch, and they are set a little deeper than what you're going to find in your standard 1/4 inch bits. Now, inside of these, they have a little ring in there, and that ring is designed to engage with that notch and thereby keeps the bit from just falling out whenever it's in use. So the rebar and all the drivers that include, all the multi-tools that include that truss style screwdriver do give you the ability to add on extra bits if you want to, and so that's something that I do like. Now, with the Leatherman Wave and similar multi-tools that include the Bit Exchanger, you have a lot more driver options. So while you can add on these as well to expand your capabilities with the bit adapter that you can get for the truss style screwdrivers, it's a lot more convenient to be able to just slip them into a ready built receiver for those, or the exchanger. And so you can get this bit kit separately, which includes 40 different bits plus, or 20 different double-sided bits, plus the little micro driver, which you will find a holder for in the Wave and Charge series. So, and because they're using those flattened or more proprietary bits that are flattened out a little bit, you can actually carry a vast number of different size bits with these proprietary bits. The downside to these is we're just going to take a look here at one of the hex bits. Now, because these are ground down or they're flattened out, you don't get the full dimension out of something like this 3/16, or excuse me, 6 millimeter or 1/4 inch hex socket. This can be a problem when you are trying to deal with fasteners that are really stubborn. These are not going to hold up that well if you have something that is a fastener that is really stuck into place. And so oftentimes I won't even carry these because they are a little bit limited. However, with some of the other models like the Torx bits, I find them to be incredibly useful. I like the fact that they have various different, they have pauses, they have different size Phillips. Those are all can be very useful. But as I mentioned before, and I have one example here of a bit that has been twisted. If I can get it to pull out here. So I have a 3/32 flat driver, and if we look at the end of that, you can see that it got twisted over. That was because we were trying to pull a fastener that it just would not hold up well, because the bit material is quite a bit softer than what you're going to get in your standard bits or drivers that would come on the multi-tool itself. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. Now, here's where I find myself liking the Bit Exchanger, and for those that watch my channel know that I carry the Leatherman Surge. There's a couple of different drivers, and there's actually one more beyond this, but we're going to concentrate on these two. So we have our standard driver here, and then we have one of the newest releases from Leatherman. This is their ratchet driver, which is actually very effective. Allows you to be able to use that ratcheting action. Really saves you a lot of energy whenever you are working with different types of fasteners. So this is a very good tool. I originally tested this one to see what it could handle, and it could handle somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 foot-pounds, which is pretty good for a little driver like this. The odds of you getting or needing to put on anywhere near that amount of force onto a small fastener are pretty much nil. And so this is actually a very good tool to use. It's a very handy tool. But my personal favorite is to use their standardized driver. Now, as I mentioned before, some of the drivers, if you're trying to use a standard 1/4 inch driver, it doesn't fit effectively in here. But there is a bit of a workaround for this. These are double-sided Weehaw bits. And let me just pull out the standard driver that you'll get in here. Now, these are designed very, very similarly to that of the Leatherman proprietary bits. They are slightly shorter, but they fit very well and work very well within the Leatherman Bit Exchangers, and that's part of the reason why I like them. Now, this particular one comes out of a Weehaw double-ended bit kit called the Technician 13 bit pack. They also have some various different models of their double-sided bits that are available out there, and I'll try to leave all the links that I can below for all of this stuff. Now, the reason that I particularly gravitate towards the Bit Exchanger is because of the fact that I don't use this very often. In times where I actually need to work on a driver or work on a fastener, a lot of times I'll pull my surge out and be able to utilize the proprietary or the flattened bits from Leatherman, and they work fairly well. But for those times when I need something a bit more robust, the fact that I am able to carry the bit extension and have the dependability of the Weehaw double-sided bits is something that has worked very, very much in my favor. And to be able to slip that in there to get even more reach, have the dependability of what you get out of the truss screwdrivers from Leatherman, which would be a standardized number 2 bit, has proven to be the best of both worlds for me. I like having it in the exchanger a lot too, or excuse me, in the extension a lot too, because I can pull this out of my case, and because this bit is, or the extension is knurled, a lot of times I can run that fastener up finger tight before I ever had to pull the tool out in order to snug it the rest of the way. And so not having to fumble around with turning a fastener for a long distance on longer fasteners, I like this particular style and this method better with the Bit Exchanger in combination with this extension and the Weehaw double bits. Now, there are, I do get the debate. I do understand, people who make the argument that not having to keep up with bits and extensions is a huge thing, and that is completely understandable. I just lean a little bit more towards the Bit Exchanger for the fact that I can very easily add on an extension, which you can still add on extensions to these too, but then again, you lose the debate where you're saying you're not carrying extra stuff. So having it on board, I get that. It's a very strong screwdriver. The truss screwdrivers of today from Leatherman are built very robustly, and they hold up incredibly well. But the Bit Exchanger just, in my opinion, it gives you that extra capability. Now, granted, I don't use my multi-tool. I own a full set of tools, and so I don't find myself using my multi-tool for long periods of time when I have to use drivers. I'll pull out various different electric tools or cordless tools that I have in order to handle those tasks. But for those times when I am out and about and I'm away from my tools, the fact that I have this on board, and with the extension and the ability to go from, and this is another thing, instead of having a combination number 1, number 2, the fact that I can go from a true number 2 Phillips to a true number 1 Phillips has proven pretty advantageous for me as well. So, and then if you find yourself dealing with torques, I mean, you can always get little bit holders to carry a case like this with you in combination with your multi-tool and your accessories. That being said, it's going to add bulk and weight to your loadout, and that's something that you have to make a personal choice as to whether or not that's the best option for you. So the biggest pros to the truss screwdriver are the fact that, first of all, it does accept adapters where you can add on to it. But the biggest benefit to this is that it is a very solid screwdriver that is on board, and you never have to worry about losing any bits that come out of this. That is the biggest number one factor. That combined with the fact that this truss screwdriver gives you extra working length that you won't find with the bit exchanger. Now, with this, if you have, let's say you have a recess screw that's in like a kid's toy, and you need to reach down inside of a pre-drilled or a socket hole, this screwdriver will allow you the ability to get into, not all of them, but a large number of those types of recess screws, where the bit exchanger will not, because of the way it's designed. Every one of the bits broadens out. So that is another benefit to the truss screwdriver. The benefit to the bit exchanger is capability. It's the ability to add on and very rapidly switch between bits, the ability to have your, whatever type of driver accessory or extension accessory that you choose to carry. And if you use it in combination with something like the Weehaw double bits, it takes away the advantage that the truss screwdriver has for having a true three-dimensional bit, while adding or being able to add on a lot of driver capability. So which is better? It's completely dependent upon you and how you use your multi-tool and how much you want to carry in your loadout. Some people just want to carry strictly a multi-tool and just a simplified, easy one carry solution. If that is your preferred method, then I would say lean towards tools that have the truss screwdriver. If you use your multi-tool for more of a variety of different tasks, and the capabilities are more important to you than the slim carry of something like the rebar or the bond, then I would say the bit exchanger models would be the right choice for you. Again, it's all opinion based, and it's whether or not it's really dependent on how you use your multi-tool as to which one is more effective for you. I personally lean towards the larger capabilities of a bit exchanger, but I definitely understand the people who want to carry a multi-tool that is all inclusive. So, which is better? That's for you to decide. These are some of my thoughts on the different bit drivers and extensions and accessories from Leatherman when it comes to the driver capability. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it helps you to decide which design or which style works best for you. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.